What's up, YouTube? My name is Gray, and I'm gonna be here with a brand new challenge video for you right now. If you couldn't tell by the title, it is going to be a special one. It's gonna be unique. It's gonna be... This challenge is gonna be a doozy. I'm sure of that. Because this Pokemon's move pool is so limited in this generation. Then again, this is Gen 2 move pool, so they're all very limited, and yes, that is right! We are playing Pokemon Crystal because I love everything about Crystal. I played it so much as a kid. I think it was like my second or third Pokemon game ever, and we had Gold and Silver, yes, but the save batteries were dead, so we couldn't really save there, so it didn't do much for us. I'm sure there are going to be some things I'm going to grow to hate after this challenge in this game, but maybe not. Maybe Slugma's a good enough boy to get us through this without me actually resenting my entire life? Y'all already know the rules, so I'll go over them quick for those of you who don't know them. Rule number 1, I can only use Slugma in battle. No exceptions, no altercations to that, because there are no double battles in Gen 2. Number 2, I can catch as many Pokemon as I want for dex purposes, or for HM slaves, or anything like that, as long as they don't go into battle. And rule number 3, I cannot use items in battle, but I can give Slugma held items to use, as well as giving it TMs to learn new moves, which is a godsend, even though even its TM pool is very limited. Now that the rules are understood and the challenge is set, we're gonna hop right into this. This is, can you beat Pokemon Crystal with only a Slugma? Let's begin! We awoke in our home within Newbark Town and went downstairs, sped up past our mother's ranting, then went into Elm's lab and claimed our little squishy, traveling to Mr. Pokemon's house and getting both the egg and our Pokedex from Oak. Once we left Mr. Pokemon's abode, we got a call from Elm saying that someone done stole his Pokemon! We grinded for a while before heading back, seeing as Smog is perhaps the worst move that deals damage in the entirety of Gen 2, and it was the only offensive move that Slugma had to work with for a good while. We eventually learned Ember, and after grinding up a lot further, challenged our rival. They sent out their Totodile. Yes, I finally chose the starter that beats mine, which got curb stomped with a bunch of Smogs. We then went back to Elm's lab, reported our rival's name to the officer, and were told that they would be keeping an eye on the dingus. Elm sent me to Violet City, where we grinded up for a long while before taking on Sprout Tower. Our rival threw a hissy fit and was yoting by himself from the premises. We then proceeded to the Violet City gym and got curb stomped. The sheer strength and girth of Pidgeotto was incredibly overbearing, so we were forced to grind up to level 20 for the first gym. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those days. Upon getting squishy to level 20, we got the win relatively easily, cleansing Faulkner's whole team in holy fire! Afterwards, we grabbed the egg from Elm's aid, shredded our way through Route 2, somehow launched through Union Cave with no issues, listened to Kurt's ramblings, annihilated Team Rocket, and finally went to the gym in Azalea Town. I was genuinely shocked at the ease of this gym for us. His only possible threat, Scyther, gave us zero issues at all, using only Fury Cutter, a move that did diddly squat to our squishy Goral. Bugsy's Metapod and Kakuna went down with a single Ember each. We claimed our Hive badge and headed into the forest, only to be blocked by our rival. Their Ghastly didn't do much to us at all, and we took it down relatively easily. Then they sent in Croconaw. We needed to grind up to level 30 before trying it again. Luckily, we were able to learn Amnesia at level 29, which was a saving grace against our rival's Croconaw. Ghastly was one-shot this time, and when Schlong sent out his Croconaw, we just used Amnesia 3 times in a row. We proceeded to spam Ember for the remainder of the fight with a Crocodilian boy, then one-shot his Zubat with Rock Slide. We proceeded through the nearby Ilex forest, diving straight into Goldenrod upon emerging from the woodlands. We went into the gym and fought thought Whitney and her Clefairy could eat up 3 embers, but after that, it would be considered eviscerated. Then came her other Pokemon Miltank. I have no clue how I got so lucky as to dodge 2 or 3 of its rollouts in a row, but it gave me enough time to attempt to roast the girl. Sadly, due to a combination of rollout finally hitting and the Miltank's Goldberry, we lost. I decided that I had had enough of Gen 2 pushing me around, especially with that Heart Gold challenge, so I grinded Slugma driven by spite and rage up to level 36. At this level, Slugma learns Flamethrower, and it was just the thing I needed to bring Whitney to justice. In addition, I nabbed the Quick Claw from the park, giving it to my sentient cesspool of slagging Scoria. I proceeded to one-shot her entire freaking team with Squishy, coming up with a far better nickname in the process, but that would come a bit later. We went to the flower shop, grabbed the squirt bottle, awoke Sudowoodo, Shrek'd Sudowoodo, and strode into Ecruteak City. We tackled the Burn Tower next, where we met Eusine and fought our rival again. We unsurprisingly won. We basically spammed Flamethrower and Amnesia, which was more than enough to completely demolish him. We fell in a hole, found some doggos, talked to Eusine, then went to battle the gym. When I used Speed Up, however, I kind of let Slugma evolve. This led to a lot of backtracking, and once we got back to Ecruteak City, before we did anything else, I took down the Kimono Girls, then Burn Tower, and then the gym. I didn't let our little Slugma evolve this time, and after knocking around his gym trainers, we fought Morty himself. He began with his Ghastly, which of course started with a curse. We killed it relatively quickly with a couple attacks, and one-shot his second Monhaunter with a Flamethrower after it missed a Hypnosis. Then came his Gengar, who landed Hypnosis, and killed us with a combination of Curse damage and Dream Eater. I needed Ghastly to either be outsped by Squishy or not use Curse as its first move. Thank goodness our Quick Claw came in handy within the next attempts, and we were able to make it to his Gengar without issue. We actually outsped it twice in a row with Flamethrower after it missed with a Hypnosis, and we eviscerated his other Haunter with one last Flamethrower, earning us our 4th gym badge. We went back to Goldenrod City afterwards, grabbing ourselves a radio card for later, taking Bill's offer of an Eevee, and renaming our Slugma Pyro. Renaming it Pyro. We then proceeded towards Olivine City, wrecking house as we trudged through swaths of trainers. We eventually got to the top of the lighthouse in Olivine City, talked to Jasmine, best girl, fished for a Corsola as our method of water travel, surfed to Signwood City, and took on the gym there. We stormed through all of the trainers inside and got to Chuck and his Poliwrath. We just couldn't get past his Primeape without getting into Yellow Hell, which certified our death at the hands of his Poliwrath's Surf. Oh boy, you know what that means. We would have to grind up a lot to live through this. I decided I'd try again when I got Slugma to level 50. During the grinding, I grabbed the secret potion from Signwood, healed Amphi, then just utterly erased Jasmine. Afterwards, I smoked the shiny Gyarados, grabbed the red scale, talked to Lance, and went into Team Rocket's secret headquarters to stop their operations. Once we made sure Team Rocket was blasting off again, we grinded up to level 50 and then went back to fight Chuck. This time, Primeape went down hard with a single Flamethrower, but the same was not true about his Poliwrath. The freaking Fricker tanked all of our hits so well, and it still hit hard despite us setting up an Amnesia defense. The thing ate up several Flamethrowers, landing a dynamic punch on us and confusing us. Luckily, after a long, intense battle of Flames versus Frog, we incinerated the Poliwrath while living with just 3 HP remaining. We claimed our badge and got the HM for Fly before neoming over to Price's gym. This gym battle was fairly uneventful. We basically spammed Flamethrower throughout the entirety of the fight, and it destroyed all of his poor ice types. It was at this time that I remembered that the next gym leader existed, Claire. I was sure I'd need to grind up, but I wasn't sure just how much until I got to Blackthorn City and attempted to fight her. Her team was stacked! A lot more than I remember it being. Maybe because this version of Crystal was edited to be more difficult. I could easily get past Gyarados with Rock Slide, but her Kingdra, there was no way I could get past that at my current level. Alas, 'twas time for me and my Pyro to dive once again into the wilderness to achieve new levels of might. We grinded all the way up to level 75 before attempting the final gym, and again we went through hell. My resolve was far from broken though. I would beat this gym, and I'd do it at level 75. It was then I remembered how I do that. If I got lucky enough with flinches and with the quick claw my Slugma was holding, then maybe with enough soft resetting. It took me well over 30 minutes on speed up to beat Claire, but finally we got the stroke of luck we needed to slaughter her dragoons. Claire had a hissy fit and sent me to the dragon caves where I aced the quiz and got my final badge and a useless TM from Claire. It was finally time to face the Pokemon League. Our first opponent was Will. He began with a Xatu which was trampled by an avalanche of obsidian. Next up was his Slowbro who, despite being bulk city, got taken down with a barrage of attacks, managing to burn it early on. Then came his second Xatu which fell to a cavalcade of fire. His last two Pokemon, Jinx and Exeggutor, were evaporated and disintegrated respectively. We headed into Koga's domain next. He began with his Ariados which was easily burned away. Next up was his Fortress who was hilariously smoten with an Ember. Next was his Muck, melted by a flamethrower, and then came his Crobat. I feared this thing so much, but was so lucky when I landed a critical flamethrower OHKOing the Echolocator. Finally was his Venomoth, who was easily smoked. Afterwards, we faced Bruno, whose fight was so laughably easy that I won't even go over it in detail. Everything was just one shot with flamethrower. The final Elite Four member in our way was Agatha. She began with her Umbreon, who, after it lived our flamethrower in the red and didn't get healed for whatever reason, was taken down by an Ember. Next, she sent in Gengar. Both it and her Murkrow were taken down with a single flamethrower each. Her Houndoom was taken down by a single Rock Slide, and finally, her Vileplume was burned to a crisp. The Elite Four being defeated far easier than I had anticipated, I readied myself for what was about to come. It was time for the finals, and I was shaking with anticipation. Lance began the fight with his Gyarados, who was one-shot with a Rock Slide. Next was his Aerodactyl, who outsped us and slammed us with its own Rock Slide, only to miss the flinch and get taken down with its own technique. Then came Charizard, who also got taken out by the same move. Then came his 3 Dragonite, and I swear, RNGesus was guiding my hand through this one. The first Dragonite lives in the red from a Rock Slide from my Slugma and misses its Thunder Wave, letting us outspeed and finish it off with an Ember. Next was his second Dragonite, who got flinched by the Rock Slide and got outsped to death, and his final Dragonite ate up a Rock Slide, going into yellow HP thanks to its Goldberry. Luckily, we lived its outrage and retaliated with one last Rock Slide, KOing the thickest boy and finally defeating Lance. We claimed our title as champion and watched as our little Pyro was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So yeah, turns out you can beat Pokemon Crystal with just a Slugma. Thank you guys all so much for watching. The support for these videos is insane, and the Deoxys video is at almost 100,000 views. I never thought something like this would happen, and it's incredible to me. Thank you guys so much for giving me the chance to do this, and I will not let you down. And in fact, something people have suggested a lot in the Deoxys video after this and the Tropius challenge, maybe even before the Tropius challenge, is going to be something I'm going to be working on, which is going to go in a playlist of its own. So, wait for that, see how that goes, but we're wrapping it up here. Thank you guys yet again for watching. You guys are all beautiful people. You guys are amazing. You should feel amazing, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye!